5:30 a.m. rolls around. I am up, ready to go. I go downstairs, 6:30 a.m. And nobody I had seen the night before was down there. There are all kinds of people in the lab. A bunch of older guys, guys who I would guess were probably 20 to 35 years older than I am. Lots of activity, lots of people in adventure suits. And I'm sitting there, okay, there's a buffet, I sit down for breakfast, and I sit across from this woman, and people walking up to her with these log books, and she's stamping them. Okay, and so I'm eating, and this guy sits down next to me, and introduces himself as Don. And I have no clue who Don is. And pleased to meet you, and I go back to eating my breakfast, and he says, who are you? Uh-oh. The Robert, Indian guy, Ken, Roadrunner guy, invite, ride with, maybe? No, you can't be part of this ride. This is a special invite-only event. You can't be part of it. You have to pay your own way. I can't prevent you from following us on the open road, but you cannot be part of any of the special events. People paid real good money to be part of this, and we can't have any freeloaders. I'm just going to ride. I'll follow you guys for the day because they asked me to. I won't make any trouble. I'm not here to take anything from anybody. I was invited, and I'm sorry I didn't mean to cross any bounds. Yeah, I could go. No, just you can follow us on the public roads, but you can't be part of any of the special events. Okay. So I didn't know who that was. Her name's Nancy Stewart, or also known as Nancy MD, Don's sister, and she has the distinction of being the only woman on a winning Baja 1000 team, and she rode the last 100 miles of her winning event against the boys. So 7:30 a.m. rolls around. We are out in the parking lot. There are 28 bikes, and 7:30 on the dot. Everybody's helmets are on, gloves are on, kickstands are up, and we're all rolling towards this very narrow little exit heading out onto the road. And I knew something was amiss because despite the fact that everybody had feet on pegs, they just kind of flowed in as if they had been riding together forever out onto the street in perfect formation. No words spoken. I was like, oh, cool. This could be fun. There was no hooliganism. These were disciplined, mature riders. And so we rode along. So I'm riding along, and we get to the first gas stop. The sun's coming out, and of course I'm nervous because I'm riding with these guys. I don't know who they are. I've clearly been told that I'm an interloper, and I don't want to make any trouble. So I don't want to be the guy holding anybody up. I don't want to make a mistake. I don't want to cut anybody off. So I'm kind of nervous on the bike. I get to this gas station, and everybody's gassed up, so we're moving at a good clip, trying to fill up so that we're not holding anybody up, because they will leave you behind. They won't wait. I go in, and my sunglasses are broken, and I thought I'd buy a pair of sunglasses real quick, and because the sun was blinding, but they didn't have any. And then this guy, Ron, says, here, take my spare set of Ray-Bans. Okay, thank you. Really nice guy. So he and I start riding together. And as we're walking out of the gas station, he says, do you realize that we're in the company of living motorcycle legends? And I looked at him and said, there's a guy who was in the movie On Any Sunday here, and there's some Daytona 200 winners. I'm like, oh, okay. That didn't really, On Any Sunday, that's a movie I'd seen, but Daytona 200 is really not something that I've paid a lot of attention to in my life. So we're riding along, and at the various stops, people keep asking me. Everybody knows my name by this point. It's like, oh, you're Yermo from the gas station. Oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah, okay. Are you going to join us to New York? New York? No. I'm at the end of today. I'm going to go home because it's an invite-only event, and I'm not welcome. Because I'm just an interloper, right? No. You should really follow us to New York. After about the 10th person said this to me over the day, I was like, You know, this is so unlike me, because if I'm told I'm not welcome, there is no way I'm going to ask whether or not I can be included. But people were so excited and so open, and I was having such a blast riding with these people that I decided, well, you know, maybe I could ask. So I asked a couple of questions about what this ride was, because I still didn't really know. So it turns out, 100 years ago, pretty much to the day, this guy named Erwin Baker did a record-breaking run from San Diego, California to New York City, New York on a 7-horsepower Indian motorcycle. But he didn't break the motorcycle record. He broke the standing vehicle record by 9.5 days. The previous record had been a little over 20 days, I think in an automobile or some such, and he did it in 11.5 days by himself, no support vehicles, no help. And so this guy, Don MD, decided about 3 years ago to try to retrace, he'd come across a story, and try to retrace this route that this guy, Erwin Baker, had followed across the country. And interestingly enough, when Erwin Baker arrived in Battery Park in Manhattan, the press there said he was like the Cannonball Express, I think the term was, from which he got the nickname Cannonball Baker, from which the Cannonball runs from. So to some degree, he was the first iron butt rider. And so Don spent a couple of years retracing a route, and he thought it was going to just be him and his buddy Joe going cross country on this route, but other people started gaining some interest. And eventually it turned into this event. He got sponsors for it, you know, little unknown companies like Yamaha to come on board. So these guys are all on this ride, following, and it turned out that I was in the company of people who had won the Daytona 200, industry leaders, people from the press. There were a couple of actors, if I remember correctly. And it was a group of people that I would never have access to. You know, you just can't run into people like this. And so I thought, okay, I'm going to ask Don. You know, maybe he was so concerned about freeloaders, maybe I can approach him and say, well, listen, I don't want to freeload, but you know, people are asking me, I'm having a great time. Maybe I can buy in. You guys are halfway through your trip now, they tell me. Maybe I can buy in for half. I see all the work that you're doing. I see the support vehicles. I see the reservations. I see the organization. I know how hard it is to put something like that together, but I'd really like to join you guys. Can I buy in? And suddenly, everything changed. He smiled and he said, I am so glad that you said that. We've had so many people try to come in and join this ride and freeload off of us, and you know, and the undercurrent was that they weren't respectful. And I'm so glad nobody sees the work. You do. Of course you can join us. I'll talk to Nancy about getting reservations for you. We'll get you a logbook. We'll get you a sticker, and welcome aboard. Cool. So I got invited to dinner. This was one of the special events hosted by some club that was in the area. This was, actually I forget, this is Kansas City, I think. Kansas City, yes, at a barbecue. And I'm sitting down next to guys, and I'm terrible with names. So turns out, his name, great guy. Keith Mashburn is his name. He was the guy in the movie On Any Sunday. And so I asked him about the movie, and asked him, you know, don't you ever get tired of people asking you about Steve McQueen and On Any Sunday and racing? And he said, no, I don't. That man is Ralph White, a Daytona 200 winner. Really nice guy as well. Actually, everyone was kind of intimidatingly open and accepting. You know, there was none of this, what I feared, you know, you're an interloper, you're not one of us, you didn't join us from the beginning, you know, what are you doing here? It was all, dude, this is so cool. Thanks for joining us. I was floored. I had no understanding why. So, the next day, officially a member of the ride. I have my little sticker. It's 7:30 a.m. I'm getting on my bike. I got my helmet on. And all of a sudden, this guy, this big, huge camera, kneels down in front of my bike and starts taking pictures of me. That's strange. Ryan was their sweep rider as part of the crew that was managing this event. And he walks up to me, he says, well, you know, oh, sorry, keep hitting the button. We have a support vehicle, tools, I'm a mechanic. If you need anything, you need to have your tires pumped up, pressure checked, anything like that, let me know. And I looked at him like, why? So that first day, as an official member of this trip, we're riding along, and Don, leading the trip, he's got the GPS track on his bike. I've downloaded it since the night before, got it on my GPS, and we're leaving Kansas City. And he's very much of a, you will be on your bike and rolling at exactly 7:30, or you will be left behind. Everybody's ready, so we're rolling out, we're in formation, we get into traffic, and I'm following Don, I'm not paying attention to my GPS. And all of a sudden Don takes a right to an off-ramp. Ducati rider right behind him, same, and I'm blocked by a minivan as I watch the off-ramp go behind me. First time, of course I'm mortified because here I am, you know, this is my first official part of the ride and I've already screwed up within the first 5 minutes. I race to the next exit, which is too far away, turn around, try to come back, it takes me 15 minutes, they're gone, there's no catching them. Alright, so I decide I could try to follow the route, which is going to be slow, through backcountry roads, or I can just head straight to the rallying point at a place called Donaldson Cycles. So I super slab it the 100 miles to the event at Donaldson. I end up being the first one there. As I roll up, right, and there are photographers standing in the parking lot taking pictures as I roll up. And after a while, people start showing up. There's a lunch is served, and they have this big, huge banner made up, and so they have us all stand out front. There are vendors there. They make it like a real event. And you'll notice I'm holding up the sign. It's still feeling terribly out of place. And Donaldson Cycles has this really impressive Japanese motorcycle museum, which reminded me very much of Bob's museum, except on the Japanese side. Ralph White walks up to me and he says, here, I want to show you something, Yermo. And he walks over and he says, this is a replica of the bike I won on. And he was really excited to share this with me, to show me this. And I'm like, I'm nobody. Why? What? But it was really cool.